welcome back to the Trauma Sensitive Yoga series. This week we'll be focusing on mindful self-compassion. Couple things you might need. If you have a bolster or rolled up blankets, that could be supportive during this practice. Any pillows, blocks if you have them. If you don't have blocks, stacking up books, or if you have a water bottle or two, placing water bottles under your hands can be supportive. Today, I'm going to invite movement on the mat or on the floor. That being said, if you feel most comfortable moving in your chair, you are more than welcome to do so. With movement in the chair, if at any point you see me moving through shapes and you don't know how to make those shapes translate to on the chair, you can always just reach out via email. So with all of that being said, we are going to start this practice in as much stillness as you feel comfortable with, and I'll be talking. So I'm going to give a couple options here. If you feel comfortable and grounded in a seat, more than welcome to stay here. Again, remember, like when we talked about in grounding, you can always look around for support and see how you can add support. If you're interested in trying something new, there is a shape called child shape. And so with child shape, there's lots of options here. Option one being our knees can stay close together. Option two, we can keep our feet together and then create some space for our knees. Once we come into this shape, we'll begin to sit our bum back towards heels and walk fingertips forward. So we're trying to find some lengthening, some space for our spine. Now, if we're noticing bum isn't coming back to heels or lengthening through our spine feels uncomfortable, this is where our props can offer support. So we can take blankets and bring them to the center of our body and rest. We could bring props, blocks, pillows, blankets under our arms to reach forward. If there's space between our heels and our glutes, we can stack up whatever props we need to create less space. And then lastly, we're focusing on length here. So if you would like to land on the front of your body and lengthen through arms, lengthen through spine, resting on forehead or ear, that's an option as well. Take a moment here to get settled in the shape that you're most interested in exploring. And knowing that once you choose, you're not stuck with that shape. That's the beautiful thing about this practice. This practice is for you. You get to individualize it. So you might start in one shape and decide to move to another shape. As you make your way towards stillness in this shape, I invite you to non-judgmentally check in with yourself in this moment. Asking yourself, how do I feel in this moment, right here, right now? Not having to base the answer on earlier today or on tomorrow. Now, if you're unsure, maybe you check in with interoception. What, if any, sensations do you feel physically in your body? Any warmth, coolness, fluttering, tingling? Are there certain spaces in your body that stand out to you, like your heartbeat or the way your breath is moving? What's happening with your thoughts, with your mindset? And then acknowledging, does the shape feel supportive for this moment and how you're feeling? Or would you like to shift into a different shape? Fully accepting how you feel in this moment. A gentle reminder, we are all human and feel a full range of emotions. And none of these emotions are bad or not good to feel. What's important is that we hold space for them. That we slow down and pause to support ourselves in responding instead of reacting. And then sometimes, no matter how much we know about interoception, no matter how connected we feel to our body, sometimes we are going to react. And so this is a beautiful opportunity to remember self-compassion. To remember common humanity. We are all human. We all make mistakes. It is okay. And so mindful self-compassion is a term coined by Dr. Kierstin. And she took the practice of mindfulness, of being present moment to moment without judgment, and combined it with this practice of self-compassion, this practice of recognizing that we are human, we make mistakes, it happens to everybody. And in those moments, can we treat ourselves with understanding and kindness versus criticism? And begin to notice how that shifts things for us. There's a common misconception with mindful self-compassion that if we're compassionate with ourselves, if we offer ourselves forgiveness in these moments we perceive as mistakes, or maybe they are mistakes, that we're not going to do better in the future. But the truth is, mindful self-compassion offers us the space to truly see our actions, see our feelings, see what's going on. And the same thing as meditation and mindfulness, what we talk about is creating space to pause, to respond instead of react. Mindful self-compassion can offer us that. Whereas sometimes if we're hard on ourselves or we're criticizing ourselves, we'll avoid looking at these things we perceive as a mistake. So today we'll be exploring mindful self-compassion, and if this is a term you're unfamiliar with, I invite you to get online and look into it. Dr. Kierstin has a website. There's a bunch of beautiful free resources on it. The one thing I love about mindful self-compassion is one of the lessons that you're taught is there's a yin and a yang side of self-compassion. So there's this soft, soothing side to self-compassion. But there's also this fiery side to self-compassion. This discipline, devotion, dedication to self side of self-compassion. And so know if one feels sticky or uncomfortable, for example, we'll explore self-compassionate touch today. If that feels uncomfortable and like something you don't want to move forward with, know there are many ways to practice mindful self-compassion. With all of that being said, let's find some mindful movement. The invitation today is to move with compassion, move with kindness towards self. We'll meet in what is called a tabletop shape. For tabletop, we'll stack shoulders around our wrist area, hips around and over our knee area. If your wrists feel tense, you can press into fist instead of flat hands, or place some pillows under your hands for support. Maybe wiggle your toes here, checking in. Circling your ankles, if you're open to it, sending gratitude to your feet for everything they offer you. And then checking in with our wrists, turning your fingertips away from each other, heels of your hands in towards each other. You can rock from side to side. Try rocking back and forth a couple times, seeing how that feels today. If you'd like, you could even lift one wrist at a time and circle here. Circling in one direction and the other. And planting both hands into support if you're not doing so already. Connecting to our spine. Inhale, lift your chin. Lift your chest. Find space. As you exhale, reverse that around your shoulders. Tuck your chin into your chest. Moving with your breath or at your own pace, whatever feels the most aligned today. And if this movement feels pleasant, continue. Otherwise, we'll begin to circle here, pressing hips back to your heels, and then rotating forward over your fingertips. Feel free to pause in any spaces that feel like they need some extra support today. Like any other circles we find, you can circle in one direction or a few times in each direction. Next time you're center, extend your right toes behind you. Toes stay planted on the mat for support. If stillness feels aligned, stay here. Otherwise, you can rock back and forth. Might notice a stretch or pulling. Your choice. Continue with this or lift your toes off the ground, finding some balance. You also have the option to reach your opposite hand forward, continuing to find this balance. Making sure to listen to your body, offering it back support when it asks for it. What I invite you to notice here is, how do you talk to yourself in these moments where you feel wobbly or off balance? Coming back to all four connections to the earth. And rooting into stillness, whether this be sitting back on your knees, your glutes, or sinking into the support of the earth via child shape. Noticing any changes that may have happened. Do you notice any similarities or differences between the right and left side of your body? How is your breath moving? Your heart rate? Staying open to this lens of curiosity. Moment to moment, what, if anything, changes? If and when you're ready, we'll find movement once again, remembering to find a little bit of compassion in each moment, whether that be stillness or movement. Back in this tabletop shape, I invite you to close down your eyes or at least stay away from looking at the screen for the next few moments. Building trust with yourself. What, if any, movements do you need? This could look like moving back through your cow shapes, circling your wrist or your ankles, something I'm not saying verbally, but you know you would like in this moment. You get to choose how and if you move for the next 5, 3, and 1. Left toes reach behind you, toes stay connected to the mat, rooting into stillness or adding in a rock back and forth. If you're enjoying this stretch, stay here. Otherwise, you can explore lifting your left foot off the ground. Practicing balance here. Foot can lift as high or as low as you'd like it. Some of us might explore reaching our hand forward. Let go of ego, let go of expectations. It does not make you better than or worse than if you choose to keep both your foot and hand on the ground, or if you choose to lift your hand and your foot. Stay present with the movement your body's asking for today. All our options, and depending on the day, a certain option might be the best for us. Lowering down when you're ready and picking your shape for stillness. Sitting, reaching into child